DC last year. It was everything was very, fast,
Yeah. I don't think I was in DC when you were in DC though.
Oh,
I was out
okay.
of the city. Yeah. So we're just getting it connected to YouTube right now. Perfect. We're up on YouTube. We're up on Zoom. We've got this beautiful intro screen. Love it. All right. Let's hit some recording button. All right. So welcome to Rain Talks. Today we have from the Play and Learn Foundation, Nana Kwasi Ohene. Am I saying that right?
Kwasi, Nana Kwasi. It's Kwasi.
Kwasi. Okay. I'm a little rusty. All right. From the Play and Learn Foundation, we have a short clip that we're going to show, part of our intro, and then we'll hop right into it. Actually, if you want to unmute.
Yeah.
All right. So we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about soccer in Ghana. We're going to talk about how you're influencing soccer in Ghana and how you're influencing the youth in that direction. Sound good?
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. Aisha, you want to go with the first question and we'll go from there?
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today. So I'll start with the first question. What really inspired you to start this foundation? What was like that first step?
Wow. Yeah. So I think it was a process for me. I had gone back to school to do my master's in marketing, and I'm a soccer person. Like I've loved to play football since I was very young. I wanted to play professional, but at that point when we're growing up, football was seen as a sports for illiterates. So if you're going to a good school and all that, your parents wouldn't want you to go play football because of that perception. So I wasn't allowed to play. So growing up, I've always loved football. So when I went back to school to do my master's, I started coaching the halls. I was in the international students hostel. I was coaching international students, for the inter-halls league that they play at the university campus. So what we do is that I was coaching both the boys and the girls team. So that is how it started. You have these kids coming from Okponglo. Okponglo is like a slum area opposite the university. So you have these kids cross the road, come to the university, then come to the football fields where we usually train. So what we were doing was that when we train, the ball goes out, we send some of these kids to go pick the balls, bring them. And for the girls team, when we're about to start the competition, we organize the little boys together for them to play the girls, sort of to as a scrimmage, so that they get prepped for the competition.
Mhm.
So that is how we got to interact with the kids, and getting to know them, getting to know their backgrounds and where they came from. We became friends, started helping them with their homework, having like 1 day reading sessions with them. So that is how it started. It started as, we trying to give back as a team on campus. Then it grew
Mm.
into where it is now. So I didn't get hooked. I didn't even know when I got hooked to the whole project. It was like a process. Then I realized that there's more that can be done. If there's a more structure to what we are doing, we can reach and impact more children. So I think that is how it started, like about 6 years ago.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah,
it
that's
came
awesome.
around
You guys are
pretty organic when you were sick. One day, oh, this is a thing that we can do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fantastic.
So after we realized, I think with my master's, it was 2 years, and it ended in 2015. So I finished my master's in 2015, and that is when I sat down after doing this, like as a hobby or a thing for 2 years while I was coaching on campus, that I need to sit down and like
Mhm.
draw up a real structure and a real plan to this. If this is something that we are going to be doing, and we want to really impact these kids through football. So came up with a business plan for like the next 15 years on how we are going to grow this to impact more children, not only in Okponglo, but as many underserved communities throughout Ghana, West Africa, and Africa as a whole.
Wow, it's a far-reaching vision. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, huge vision.
And so just a little bit of background. Your programming takes place in Accra, right? Where is it? Where are you guys located?
Yes. So our programming takes place in two communities in Accra. We have Okponglo and La Baoleshi. They're all close to the University of Ghana, because that is where 100% of our children come from currently. And I mean, the plan is to expand, but currently this is where we are located.
Awesome. Do you get a lot of support from the university, or is it mostly university students that are kind of supporting?
So it's been a long road. When we started like 5 years ago, most of the volunteers, I'll say like 95%, were all like international students. And there was a time
Mhm.
where you realize that Ghanaian students weren't used to the idea of volunteering. Like it was new to them,
Mm.
per se. But we've been able to build that Ghanaian base of volunteers, throughout campus. So now we have more Ghanaian volunteers that we do have international students coming in.
Mhm.
And I think that it works well for us now. So, but we don't only have like help from just Ghanaian volunteers. What we've done is to also strategically put ourselves in the university where we've partnered some of the departments. So when you go to the social work department at the University of Ghana, we have a formal partnership with them where we have students coming to volunteer because that is their field of work. And just last October, we started a research paper we were writing with one of the professors at the social work department, to put out on how an
Mhm.
after school program like what Play and Learn is doing has an effect on kids from less privileged backgrounds. We also have another partnership with the education department and the sports department on campus because they're all linked to what exactly PAL is doing with sports and education. So we've been able to not only use volunteers, but partner some of the departments, to come on board, to formally come on board and join us to make more what we are doing more, not only practical, but add some academic aspect to it, do some research and see how best we can, build a program that can be replicated throughout Ghana and Africa.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. Aisha, you have anything?
Yeah, actually, while we're on the topic of volunteers, how does a typical day look like for a volunteer with your foundation? And how does it look like for you?
Well, that's a good question.
Okay, I'll start with the volunteers because it's easier. Um, so we have different activities that we run for the kids throughout the week. So first we have volunteers that deal with the teaching program that we run. They have 2 days in a week where they are supposed to go into the house of the student they have been assigned to, and they are supposed to help them with math, English, and homework. So before that, we have a curriculum that we send to the volunteers. We have a teaching guide that we send to them that they are supposed to read and know how to prepare, for each lessons. And also we give them tips based on what other volunteers have experienced, how to deal with the kids, when they are being a bit troublesome or they are being a bit naughty because they are kids and you expect that from kids, So all those tips and all that. And the reason why we move teaching to the houses is also to help the volunteers out because with the kids once their parents are there they begin to like behave well because they know their parents is there. If they misbehave, they have a parent there that will put them right, so that helps a lot. And it also helps with the volunteers when it comes to like cultural immersion because now they go into the homes, they see how these kids live. So the learning process is give and take. They are learning how these kids are at home, how their home systems are. Sometimes they teach them how to cook certain Ghanaian foods and all that. So it goes back and forth. That's what the teaching program. With the football program, we also play football 3 times in a week. Now we have both the girls and the boys team. So with the coaches is the same thing. There's always a monthly goal that you're supposed to reach. So the coaches come together, they set the goal. Then with every practice, they have coaches assigned to certain roles, for that. Now, the main aim of our football program is not necessarily to create or participate in the national league per se, but to use football because football is a very big sport here in Ghana. To use that
Mhm.
as a means of creating an outlet for the kids to come play, but also learn certain soft skills, how to work together in a team, give some of them certain leadership um, positions and responsibility to take, and also put them in scenarios where they are supposed to solve problems or critically think. These are practical for them to be able to use the sport of football to get them through such scenarios as well. That happens 3 times in a week. Then just this January, we started a creative aspect to what we do. We had poetry, we had dancing, and with the dancing too, it was twice in a week. The poetry was once in a week, and it's the same procedure that the volunteers go through. On
Mhm.
Saturdays, we have a girl empowerment program that we run for 20 of our girls, and that we started last year October, and it was supposed to run for 6 months. The girls were supposed to graduate in April. That was last month, right? Yeah, in April last
Yeah.
month until Corona happened and all that. But they were like I think two
Right.
classes away from graduation. So after all this is over, they're going to graduate. And with that, most volunteers in that program act as big sisters because every month we take the girls through a certain topic. We've done gender versus sex, we've done career development, we've done gender violence, and all that. What the
Right.
big sister is supposed to do is meet the girl that you've been assigned to throughout the week. You tell her, you teach her, you explain to her what we discussed when we met that particular month. If she has questions, if she has any worries, if she's going through anything within her neighborhood or whatever, she brings it to you. You sort of talk to her because these girls aren't given that space at home to express themselves, to talk about what is going on with them because there are changes, and they live in a place where they're not protected, so find a very safe space for them to talk about certain things, about their mental health, the growth, because they're girls, they are growing up, there are certain changes that come. Their parents might not necessarily have those discussions with them. I mean, in Ghanaian culture, parents don't do that, but then these are questions that come up. Boys start talking to them, they get catcalled and all that. And these are big men in the neighborhood that call them. How do you react to that? Or if somebody touches you, where should you go? Who can you speak to? Who wouldn't judge you when you open up like that? So this is what the big sisters do for that part. So like it depends on what you choose to volunteer for. Sometimes we have people that volunteer for 2 or 3, or people that just want to do one. Then we have the mobile library that we run on Sundays. And with the mobile library, it's just once in a week where volunteers come and they just come and read. So that doesn't entail too much preparations or involvement. It just requires 2 hours of your Sundays. You come and read with a particular child for a certain period of time. And with the reading, we are looking at building their confidence, their vocabulary, their comprehension, and ability to read and understand, and reciprocate, what they've been able to read. We also have a partnership with one of the local schools in the community. So those who actually volunteer with mobile library will also go to the school to go and read with children from that school. Aside that, we have volunteers that intern with the organization, and that is more like the work I do, grants, proposals, corporate meetings, and all that. So volunteers are across these areas. With regards to your question about what I do, I am actually involved in everything that goes on because it's still a grassroots project and we are still building it. I have to be heavily involved in everything that goes on and make sure that a certain standard is kept, in giving out, like in volunteering and answering questions and solving problems that come up, so that we can ensure that, quality and accountability and transparency is observed throughout, all the different means of volunteering. So I pretty much work every single day throughout the week, in making sure these programs run, and also doing other administrative and grants writing related stuff that has to do with running the organization.
Yeah, it's not just the programmatic parts, it's also the executive functioning that you have to deal with on a day-to-day. It takes a lot more time than people realize.
Yeah.
That's a lot. It sounds like you're doing amazing work over there, man. And really impacting.
Yeah, we're trying to do our best. There's more in store. There's more that needs to be done. So we're trying to work hard to get to that point. At least, it was good that I was able to get the business plan done like 5 years ago, because that's one thing that has really helped in guiding me, because certain milestones are set for certain time periods. So with the timelines, that after 2 years, we have to do this. In the next 5 years, we have to expand. In the next 10 years, this is what we are looking to do, so that then we start taking them off one by one. And as we take each one off, it gets us closer to the big picture, the big goal of where we want to be, in the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, that's massive. You mentioned the curriculum that you give your volunteers. Is that something that you have developed over time, or educationally, is it something that you kind of copied and said, we're going to do it this way, or was it all organically evolved?
I think it's more organic, and also looking at the needs of the children, because over time, one, we get feedback from the volunteers. Two, we also get feedback from the children, as to what they are being taught, if it makes more sense. Three, we also look at what they are being taught in school and how it can be taught differently. Because in most of the Ghanaian schools, what you realize is the children are spoon fed. Like they are
Mm.
given stuff to take in, but they are not allowed to express their opinion. Like, what do you
Right.
think about this? After reading this, what do you think? So most of them don't have confidence. You
Mm.
ask a question, they might have an opinion or might know, but they cannot express this because they in school the atmosphere and everything doesn't allow them to express themselves. So most of the curriculum in teaching allows the kid to talk more, to express themselves more. And one important thing is make them not afraid to make mistakes, because that's the only way they can learn, when they are not afraid. Then when the environment is safe enough that, hey, once I think about something, I'll say it. If I get it wrong, I'll learn and I move on. And that's how I can grow. So that's the kind of environment that we create with the curriculum that we come up with based on the feedback from the volunteers and the feedback from children, and trying to teach a bit different from what the kids are used to in the schools that they are in.
That's awesome. Aisha, what do you got?
Yeah, I got a question about. You talked a little bit about the different programs that your foundation goes over. But when you're deciding on like a new initiative or a new program or scholarship, what aspects do you keep in mind the most when deciding?
So when you're looking at what scholarship, what kind of scholarship do
Sorry,
you
did I
mean?
cut out there?
I think
Like I'm
so.
asking if
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
trying to figure out a new program or like an initiative, yeah. Like something new to add to your curriculum currently. What things do you keep in mind the most?
Okay. So in the business plan that we drew up 5 years ago, we started with football, but we wanted to make it, because it's play and learn. Play encompasses like different stuff, not just football. So try to open it up as much as possible. So over the years, when we have volunteers that come up with ideas that are linked to some of the things that we want to expand on, we give them the initiative. Because what we try to do is, once we have people that want to take up certain new initiatives, like example is the dance program that we started this year. We had a student that came in and last year, and she was interested in starting the program. So what we did was give her the resources to start the program and give her volunteers that she was going to put into a team to implement that program. So when she leaves, that program is still there and that program still goes. We had another student that came in January that wanted to start the poetry program too. And that was also in line with some of the things that we want to do. The girl empowerment program was the project, the proposal, and everything was written like a year ago by a group of like 5 students. It was something that we wanted to do, but they wanted to champion it. So they did the research, the proposal writing, the program schedule, and everything for that. And in October, a different set of students implemented it. So we give the room for initiatives and people to grow, because I believe that as a volunteer, we want to put you in a situation where you feel responsible, or you feel like you've added something to the organization, so that when you leave, it's not just you came to teach per se, but you can also add something to what we do. And once we started, that's one thing about play and learn. Once we start an initiative, we believe that the only way for it to be impactful is if it's consistent, if it's done consistently. So we'll maintain it and do it consistently so we can achieve results, with the kids, same as the mobile library and the other programs. So we're always open. Once somebody has a new idea, you come, we discuss it, we look at how to implement it, how to sustain it, and keep it growing, so that when you're not there, is still running. But then even if you're in the States, you're in the UK or wherever, you know that you were a part of this and this is growing and it started because of you. So we create that space for people to come up with that new initiative. Then we look for a way of sustaining it, whether it's volunteers or getting resources to make sure that it works.
Yeah, that's a lot of great experience for
to give ownership. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I say that's a really good way to give the volunteers ownership over the programming.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean they enjoy it, like they enjoy it, and like we are like one family. Once you join the family, whether you're in Ghana and you leave, you're still part of the family. You can still help, because that is how we want to make it. Because so that when you leave, you don't just leave the program. You can still help, but then you have people that will do the legwork, who are here. But you can still help with your intellect, with what you know, your experience, and we will implement it when you're here. I realize that is a way also to get them motivated, you know, to get the tax done. So once you give them that this is your baby, they get more attached, they get more motivated, and they put in a lot of effort to get the tasks that are assigned to them done.
Yeah, and I know you have a lot of international volunteers. How influential or impactful has having that group been to kind of spreading the word about play and learn? Because they're taking a little piece back with them everywhere they go. They have ownership. So they say, look what I did here, and it's still running. That's got to be massive.
Yeah, like it's very massive, and it's like we have play and learn family in a lot of places, especially in the US, and it helps. It helps in various ways. One major way is when it comes to funding. Like when we have projects that need funding, we aren't at a space now where we are internally generating our own revenue to cater for our projects, and also we rely heavily on family funding from like friends and families and some of the play and learn people that have left,
Right.
but it's something that we are working on to change next year, where we'll start our first enterprise, so that we can solely rely on, or mostly rely on, the revenue that enterprise generates to help us expand to other communities and fund the program ourselves, so that we don't rely on that aspect. But then most of the people that have come and left help a lot with funding. They help too with, like, as you said, spreading the word. You have people talking to people about play and learn. When they come, they choose us, they come to volunteer with us and stuff like that. You have people that will link you up to organizations that will donate like soccer balls or books and stuff. Last year we had a Christmas party, and we had some toys that were donated to the kids. We're able to give a child like a Christmas gift. So those are other kinds of benefits that we also have. We also have people that also, when they leave, they still want to be part of the organization, so they become ambassadors of the organization. So whatever project that we are on, these are people that will help, whether it's grant writing or looking out for organizations that might likely want to support us, a particular initiative or not. So that is another way where volunteers. I mean, it's been amazing, being able to have people come, leave, and still want to help us in various ways.
Yeah. My question is more about what advice you would have for like a nonprofit that wants to do something similar or wants to grow in a similar way and has similar goals. What would your biggest piece of advice be for an organization like that?
Interesting. I would say that, first of all, have a plan, because 5 years on, like having a plan has helped. Even when you get to times where you ask yourself, like, what am I doing? Like, you even doubt what you're doing, like, and it comes a lot if you don't have a plan and you don't follow the plan, and also be able open yourself up to be able to adapt and change the plan if some things don't work too, because that is what growth is about. Also be open to other people's ideas, you know especially if you decide to work with people, because no man is an island. And over the 5 years, we've worked, we've talked, we've had discussions with so many different people. As you said, talked with so many international students, Ghanaian students who have different backgrounds and different ideas. Sometimes somebody might see something differently than how you're seeing it, and it opens your eyes to so many opportunities. So yes, have a plan, but be open to other people's ideas too, especially people that you feel are very passionate to help your cause. So I think that's the first idea. Another thing I would say is be passionate and love what you're doing, because then again, it will come to a point where you ask yourself again, like, what am I doing? What keeps you going when that comes? If you're not passionate and you don't love it, you're going to fall by the wayside. But it's the love for what you're doing. And I've come to that point a couple of times where that is what kept me going, and pushing. My love for the kids, my love to help them. And, it makes going to see them every day easier. It makes like working in projects, working on grants, which are very difficult, and even sometimes being rejected. And that's another thing too. Like, don't be afraid of rejection, like it comes, like, people won't see, you're the only one that sees your dream and where you want to go to. Some might not see, they might reject you when you go for help or when you go for this and that, but you keep going, like you accept it, like, okay, they rejected me, doesn't mean what I have is not working or it's not a good plan. You just keep going and following that plan.
Yeah, that's some great advice for sure. Kind of to tag along with that, actually, what would you say is the foundation's greatest achievement, or like the biggest move for you in terms of getting to that final goal that you have?
Biggest achievement. Wow. Well, I think one great achievement of the foundation is being able to set up a US chapter in Maryland. So there's a Play and Learn Maryland, and that was always part of the bigger goal, of expanding, being able to have chapters in different continents, where we can have access to volunteers, access to funding, to help us expand, the projects that we want to do here. Because there are so many kids in Ghana here that need programs like what we do here. And that is one way of looking at it, of getting funding and getting people to come volunteer and help. So I think that is one big achievement. That is one big step in helping us get there. Next year, we want to start like a summer volunteer program, that we're going to run to have people come here and take part in community projects here, building like playgrounds and libraries in communities that really need them. So these are not like just coming to volunteer and teach and go back, but being engaged in a particular project that will stay in that community for a very long time, whilst you're getting academic credits for it too. So PAL US is going to be championing that project and getting us working with universities and schools, to get us students from there. So I think that is one big achievement that will get us close. We are actually trying to kill two birds with one stone, where one, we are trying to generate revenue to expand our project, and two, we are actually doing real community work in different communities in Ghana. So I think that is a big move for PAL.
Definitely. The PAL USA, do they serve a similar population, and how much of the programming is the same?
So I think the main reason why we set up PAL was to help PAL Ghana expand and reach out to more kids here. So their mandate is a bit different from what Power Ghana does.
Okay.
They more of try to get us funding and try to help us get funding to run our programs here, and also get us volunteers to come and come work with us to expand the programs that we're doing here in Ghana.
Gotcha. So it's more like a logistical and revenue generation type thing.
Yes.
Awesome.
On the similar vein of growth, how important or impactful has social media, especially in the 21st century, been to the growth of your organization?
Oh, so social media is very powerful. I did my master's thesis in marketing on the importance of social media and in running in sports, so with my research and all that, that's what I'm using to run the organization, trying to build an online community. I think we are very consistent in Instagram, and we're also available on Facebook. We try to post as consistently and build the community. I did marketing, I did branding, so it has an effect on your brand and your visibility. And these days, online visibility is very important. You're not only showing visuals of what you do, but letting also people understand, what is going on. Telling the kids stories through pictures, through videos. And these are powerful means. Like, you cannot underplay its importance in what we do here. Other than that, you'll be doing something in Ghana somewhere in darkness and no one sees. And once no one sees, no one will be able to help you,
Right.
So for us to grow, we have to be as visible as possible through our website, through our social media avenues as well. What we need to do more of is to work on our YouTube. We do have a YouTube page and also Twitter, but haven't found somebody to run those things yet. But it's something that we are looking at, and even trying to build more in terms of our communities on Facebook and Instagram especially. So I think it's been very integral. It's also another way of people that come and leave keep tabs on like what is going on. Like, they see the kids, they see the pictures of the kids, and it's important to them. And anytime you post, you have people messaging you, how is Akiu doing? How is this doing after you've posted the picture? So it's also an important means of they knowing what is going on with the organization.
Yeah, for sure.
A good way to stay connected.
Yeah.
Sure. There's Aishu is also doing a lot of marketing things, so I thought she's about to get into the nitty gritty of marketing with you, which goes right over my head.
I want subject.
Marketing is fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
definitely. I'll ask for some advice if you have some time after. Yeah.
So we are live on YouTube right now, so we'll tag you and send a link to that as well. And we do have the question bar on here, so if anybody wants to ask any questions as we go along, don't forget the question bar on Zoom. And then a couple of minutes behind on YouTube, they'll get that message as well. They can pop questions in there too. So if they have any questions, we can be answering those as we go along. So, Aishu, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to know a little bit about the soccer scene in Ghana. You talked a little bit about how it's like, the life and blood of the people. Is it like that, really?
Well, in terms of football, it is the life and blood. Like, there's no corner in Ghana that you pass that you see adults and kids playing football. Growing up in Ghana, we had what we called like the Colts football, where we had like kids in different communities. They have a league system for the kids. They have teams and they play, and like it was a real big deal where you have people going to watch and all that. But the Ghana Football Association, for some reason, has not been able to maintain that. So the quality and level of football in the country has decreased as of now. And I think the last time we went to the World Cup, I think it was in Brazil, where I think we're in Brazil, yeah, and where the Black Stars, they refused to play because they weren't paying their wages or something, so they had to fly millions of dollars. That got everybody pissed off here in Ghana. So a lot of love for following like the National League, the Black Stars, went down, but people still love the game. Like people still follow football, European football, the Manchester United, the Chelsea, the City fans, all that like crazy. People play a lot of football here in Ghana. Even with the university league that I coach, like you should come see how people support. Like you think they are going to war, when you find two halls like playing. And I don't know if Matthew, you experience any football game. It's very physical here. Like, it's very physical, a lot of kicks, a lot of pushing and all the
Yeah.
like, very physical, very dirty here. But then you see the passion, when it comes to the game of football here. So the love is still there, but when it comes to following the national teams, this is a bit different based on things that happened a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I remember one period it was the Ghanaian Federation, they would put somebody in, and then somebody would be corrupt, so they take that guy out and put somebody else in. That guy would be corrupt. They kept switching, which can't be good for stability and
Yeah,
consistency.
yeah. And then people stop going to the stadium to watch
Mhm.
games because of the same corruption that you were talking about. So there's a new Ghana Football Association president, and he's trying to revive, the league and revive
Yeah.
the support and even revive the call system. Because years back, the Michael Essiens, the Samuel Osei Suleiman Tari, all the big name players that we had, they went through the call system
Right.
in their neighborhood. And now that is not there, it's very difficult identifying talents, in because there's no way to showcase their skills, for
Right.
somebody to see this child play in a village somewhere, and so this guy is a talent. Let's take him to Accra or Kumasi, or let's develop that talent. So because that isn't there, a lot of kids, are not able to channel their talents very
Mm.
well, and they are not spotted.
Yeah. Can imagine that's tough. The best team in the Premier League next year, Newcastle United, I know has Christian Atsu.
I
You
mean,
think so?
Oh yeah. um,
Oh,
but they've had Christian Atsu for a few years. So I've been following him and his record with the national team as well, and what he's able to do with at AFCON. Um, and then what he does as a person, he's similar to Manet, like not just collecting a paycheck. Like I'm going to also give back to where I came from. I'm not just going to draw a paycheck and be this big footballer. I'm going to stay connected to where I'm from, and
yeah,
really be involved in the community.
yeah.
somebody has a, if we want to go to the Q&A from the audience. Yeah, so someone's asked, Alex has asked, how involved are the pro football players from Ghana in growing and developing the game?
Mm.
Hmm. In terms of growing and developing the game, not too much involved. A few of them have started their own football academies, but you don't hear too much of them, or they participate in the league. I'm sure most of them do it for profit, to
Mhm.
maybe get players and then send them abroad. Asamoah Gyan had he built an AstroTurf facility in his high school, and he's been using that facility to also do like football competitions to help sport talent. I think There are a few of them that do that, but not on a big scale. But a lot of them actually, as Matthew said, they do give back to communities, but not football wise, but like to help people. I think aside Achu, there's another player that helps get people who have been wrongly convicted out of jail. I don't know if it's Achu or it's somebody else. Somebody else, one of the other players does that. But in terms of contributing back to football, no, they don't do really much. Then again, Ghana football is very political here in Ghana. You know, to be able to, you need a lot of politics, and sometimes some of them also shy away from that because they don't want to get involved in all that. So they try to do it in their own small way.
Interesting. Interesting. That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
On the back of that, I had a question. I just forgot it. So I really liked when you said no man is an island. How much of that kind of ethos goes into your programming?
The whole organization runs on that. You know, even with getting feedback from the kids after every semester, like we sit down as like one big family and we talk. What did we do that you didn't like? You know, do you have any ideas on what we can do? You know, some of them will bring ideas. We want to go for excursions. We want to explore Ghana, but they don't know that we have a program like that that we want to start. We're actually trying to get funding to start that program before the coronavirus came. It's called the Learning on the Go program, where we have a cohort of like 15 kids. We take them to companies, we take them on internships, you know, just to expose them to what is going on that they don't normally see. We take them to the Flagstaff House where the president is to see it. We take them to meet CEOs of companies for them to feel, you know, that environment that, okay, I can, once I can see it, I can touch it, I can believe it, I can work towards it, I'll go for it. Because I believe that once you're able to ignite that fire in a child to want something for himself or herself, there's nothing that can stop that child, especially if you have people like us who are around to help them. So we make it open for everyone to feel comfortable enough to come up with ideas that, coach, I don't think we should do this. I think if we do this way, it will be good for us. So that the next semester, then we change to modify things for their best response. And it runs through from the kids, the volunteers, those on the board, and those in management too. Everyone is heard and everyone is given a chance to shine so that we can all shine together as one big family.
That's awesome.
Fahim has a question. How is the transition from amateur to professional in Ghana?
Oh, it's very difficult. Like it's very difficult. One, I don't know if it's one, the structures here are not very clear. Two, for the last 5 years, football in Ghana has been very messy. The league has been very poor. You know, so for most of the kids that grow up, because they watch a lot of European football, they want to go straight from where they are to go play outside. They don't want to play in the league because of the low quality, but then there are processes that you have to follow to be able to do that. Some of them don't like doing the work. Then it comes to politics, you know, politics in the team, politics of the coach. If the coach doesn't like you, you don't play. So you have a lot of young, talented players that are very good that can play anywhere in Europe that are still here, or they train so hard, then they give up, then they stop, then they branch to go do something else because the structures are not there. The academies are not there to be able to develop the talent. So if you don't have academies, you don't have the coast league for them to be able to be spotted, it becomes very difficult. That means that they train on their own, then they are hoped to be picked up by scouts who come here randomly to pick up players, or in a Premier League club, and those is very difficult. The success rate is very low for such people. But once I believe the structures are put in place. We have a lot of world-class academies that are in the villages and the towns. It gives more kids, go there, go test yourself. If you're good, that's the structure. You're promoted to go here, or you're scouted to be picked up by a team. And you have a lot of qualified coaches. That's another problem that we have here. We have a lot of community coaches that have not been to get their coaching badges. So they coach based on what they read or what they see or their own knowledge of coaching. So even with the Premier League, there are coaches that are coaching that don't have coaching badges, whether through the African Football Association or in the US or Europe or wherever. So that's another thing. Then you realize that what it is that they are feeding these kids that grow up. That's how one way or the other they are not also growing and developing because they are not being coached right. That's why most of them also want to go to Europe or the US because they believe that the facilities, the structures are way better. So it's easier to transition into a professional as compared to staying here in Ghana, which doesn't have very good structures for player development.
That was a good answer. So I don't have any more questions today. Aisha, do you have any more questions?
I have a fun question, if you're okay with
Yes.
me asking.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Ask as many questions as you want.
Which player or which team, doesn't matter, anywhere in the world, like, do you rate the most? Or it's like one you look up to the most?
Well, I always tell my players, I always tell the kids that I always look up to Cristiano Ronaldo. Not just because he scores a lot of goals, but looking at where he started from Sporting Lisbon through Manchester United, through Real Madrid, and even at his age, what he's doing at Juventus, like his motivation, his discipline, and it's something that I tell the players to look up to. Messi is talented, he's a magician, but the work rate and consistency of Ronaldo is what inspires me. The 3 a.m., 2 a.m. ice bath that he has, just to keep his body in shape. Like that is discipline, that is zeal, that is motivation, that is a work ethic that you should follow. He's not as talented as you might say as Messi is with his skills and his magic stuff that he does, but he's been able to win 5 Ballon d'Ors, like, from sheer hard work, So he's somebody I always teach my players to look up to learn from, whom I learn from myself, based on these things that I've spoken about.
Yeah.
Good answer.
He's a machine.
Yeah, he is.
Yes, it's a mean machine.
It's also interesting how connected he is with his family as well, and like how much content that he puts out that, he spends a lot of time with them. He spends a lot of time with himself, and then he's also like, his family. I don't know how he finds the time, man.
Yeah, it takes a lot of discipline, and he's somebody I think he can play till he's like 39 or 40, like,
yeah,
he can play till he's that old.
Goalkeeper.
Become a goalkeeper.
He can already hop over the goal, so
yeah. Real.
There are no more questions from the audience, and I'm out of questions too. So.
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us or anything that you want to end with?
Yeah, for you and your audience, as I spoke to you earlier, we're running a fundraiser for the kids who have been affected by the global pandemic. Most of the kids whose parents, they're either selling stuff on the streets and stuff like that, can't work because of the lockdown. Now the lockdown has been lifted, but they still can't work because people are still not going out because of the fear that the virus, the cases are still increasing here in Ghana, so businesses, people have lost jobs. So we're doing a small fundraiser for the kids and their families. So anyone who can check it out can go to the Play and Learn Instagram page and the bio, the link is there, and you can share, the link, with friends and families who would want to help, but yeah, it's been lovely sharing the story. I'm always open to share the Play and Learn story. There's a lot more going on, and with time, we can always talk about it, and I can share whatever experience and whatever project that we're working on, from now, and how we see ourselves in the next 10, 15 years. So always open for any conversation regarding Play and Learn, and I can talk for hours about it. So.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. I know there's a little bit of a time difference, but we got it all worked out.
Yeah. I'm always available, so.
Yeah. Yeah, appreciate you coming on, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
All right, so we're gonna do all the things on Instagram and have the recording of this on YouTube, and we'll tag you guys in that so you can use it as well.
Sounds good.
Perfect. So again, thanks for coming on, and next time, if you want to check it out, our next episode is with a Seattle doctor, and he's going to be taking us through sports nutrition and kind of performance enhancing foods to help athletes get through matches and trainings and things.
Yeah, I'll check it out, and I'll share the link as well to some of the players that I know, because I coach a lot of like football players at the University of Ghana, so it's something that I think will be important that they should know about. So I'll share the link with them so they can. I mean, they are home, so they don't really have anything doing now, so
yeah,
they'll check it out and probably participate too.
Fantastic. All right.
All right. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.